Dear students, welcome to our channel, and today topic is fertilization. So what is fertilization? It is the fusion of haploid male gamete with the female gamete, and it will lead to the formation of a diploid zygote. Next, this fertilization is internal in case of humans because the fertilization occurs inside the female body, and that is called internal fertilization. So in this fertilization, first the sperms are deposited in vagina of female reproductive tract. Next, these sperms has to swim and cross this uterus, and finally they reach in the ampulla region of fallopian tube where the actual fertilization will occur. So there are a number of events in fertilization before the fusion of male and female gamete occur. It is not as simple as it seems. So first is our insemination, that is the deposition of a sperm in the vagina of female. Second is our movement of a sperm, or you can say approach of a sperm. And in this, what will occur after deposition of a sperm? These sperm has to become active, and there is a shorting of their number because millions of sperms are released, but only few hundreds are able to reach in the fallopian tube. So here all these changes will occur that will come under this movement of a sperm. Next is our entry of sperm into the egg, or penetration of sperm. After reaching in fallopian tube, the sperms has to dissolve the membranes or coverings of the egg because egg is covered by a number of layers. So the sperm has to break down all these layers. So that will come under this penetration of a sperm. Here a number of reactions will occur. First is our fertilizing anti-fertilizing reactions. This is a compatibility test. Here the compatible sites are present on both the sperm and the egg, and these will match, and afterwards only the sperm is able to enter inside the egg. Next is a acrosome reaction. What is acrosome? This is a part present in the sperm's head that contains hydrolytic enzymes to break down or to dissolve the egg membranes. So there will be a change in the acrosomal membrane, and afterwards these enzymes will be released. Next is our formation of reception cone or fertilization cone. There will be a change in the membrane of the egg, and that will form a cone-like structure to receive the sperm's egg and the centriole. So that is called reception cone. Next is our activation of ovum. If you remember, at the time of oogenesis, we discussed that the oogenesis completes only after the sperm enters into the egg. So that is called the activation of ovum. So the last step of oogenesis, that is meiosis second, is completed after the sperm enters or touches the membrane of this egg. That is called activation of ovum. And one more change will occur, that is called our cortical reaction. There are some granules, cortical granules present in cytoplasm of egg, and they will release their content and forms a fertilization envelope or a membrane to prevent this entry of more than one sperm, to prevent polyspermy. That will called cortical reaction. And finally our last reaction, that is the fusion of male gamete and female gamete, that is ovum and sperm. So we will see all these steps one by one. So first you can see these are the structures of ovum and sperm. If you forget, then you can revise it here. So first it is our ovum. This is the eggs, cytoplasm in the center, and in this cytoplasm what is present? This nucleus. And this eggs membrane, this one, it is called the plasma membrane. There is another name for this plasma membrane, that is vitelline membrane. So there is a vitelline membrane of this egg, and this vitelline membrane is covered by another covering that is called our zona pellucida. And outside this zona pellucida, a number of radiating cells present. These are called our corona radiata. This one. So these are our corona radiata. You can see these are the sperms. These are trying to enter inside this egg cytoplasm, but only one is able to reach. Next is our sperm structure. You can see this is our head part, and in this nucleus and this acrosome is here, and at the base of this head there is a small part that is called the neck. In this centrioles are present, and behind this is a middle piece where the mitochondria is there that will provide energy to the sperm for its movement. And finally this is our tail part, and whole structure is covered by a plasma membrane. So first step is our insemination, that is discharge of semen into this vagina at the time of copulation. So what is its number? So at insemination 400 million sperms are released here. Their number is present in millions. Why the number is that much high? Because only few sperms are able to reach. They have to face some barriers here in the vagina. Second is our movement of sperms towards the eggs, or you can also say it is activation of sperms. So here after releasing, the sperms has to face some barriers. First is our thick endometrium. This layer, this one, it is a very thick structures, and during the menstrual cycle last phase, that is the secretory phase, this endometrium becomes very thick to support the fetus for implantation, because it is getting ready for the implantation. So it becomes very thick. So sperm has to move through this thick endometrium. Next is a acidic environment of the vagina, because here the vaginal medium is very acidic, but the sperms killed in acidic environments. So here a number of sperms will be killed because they are unable to survive in acidic conditions. They start to die. Next is our phagocytes in this vaginal epithelium, because it is a foreign body. So here the phagocytes will be there, and they start to kill these sperms. So here most of the sperms will be killed. Only few hundreds will be able to cross this uterus and finally reach in this fallopian tube here near this egg cell. So these are the barriers which oppose, or you can say reduce, the number of the sperms. Out of millions, only few hundreds able to reach this fallopian tube. There are other factors also which favors this sperm movement. First is the sperm's tail movement, that is powered by the mitochondria. Second is our prostaglandins, which are present in the semen, and these prostaglandins induce the reverse peristalsis. They induce the contractions in this uterus, uterus and this fallopian tube, and that will help in the tube. So these contractions also help in the movement of the sperm. Next is the aspiratory action or the suction action of this uterus, that will also help in this sperm movement. And the last and the most important one is the capacitation, and it will take 5 to 6 hours. And what is this capacitation? Here the sperms attain the physiological maturity. The sperm is motile, but it is not that much active. So here this sperms attain that activity, that fertilization capacity, by breaking its acrosomal membrane. Here you can see this is our acrosome, and there is a plasma membrane outside this acrosome. So this acrosomal membrane has to become weaker, thinner, so that this acrosome able to release its enzymes. So that is called the capacitation. reaction. So here two changes occur. First, the membrane becomes weaker because of the removal of these glycoproteins and sterols from this membrane, this one. Second, the permeability increase and now the calcium ion moves, and because of that it becomes active. So two changes occur and both will support or favor the sperm movement and also their fertilization capacity. And the third is our entry of sperm. Now the sperm has reached, now the 100 sperms has reached in the fallopian tube. Now they have to penetrate this membrane. You can see here, these are the membranes and they have to penetrate these membrane. So first is the release of sperm lysin or lytic enzymes. The outermost layer is our corona radiata, and this corona radiata are glued together by a chemical that is called our hyaluronic acid, and these hyaluronic acid has to be digested by an enzyme that is hyaluronidase. So this acrosome will release this lytic enzyme that will dissolve or break down this hyaluronic acid that will keep these corona radiata cells together, and now it will release another enzymes that is corona radiata penetrating enzymes that will digest or dissolve this corona radiata. So that will come under the release of sperm lysin. Now this corona radiata has dissolved. So next is our fertilizing anti-fertilization reaction. It is also called the compatibility reaction because the next layer is our zona pellucida and it possesses a number of fertilizing receptors. These are the proteins, and these receptors has a number of spermophilic sites. What is this? Suppose it is our structures. So it has a number of sites where these sperms can bind. And so these sites are called the spermophilic sites because the sperm will bind. A number of sperms will bind to a particular receptors. So it is a species specific, only a particular species. If it is a human, so only the human sperm can bind to the spermophilic site of these receptors. If it is not a compatible one, then no binding will occur. So it is a compatibility test. The next is our acrosome reaction. So as the sperm touches this zona pellucida, its acrosome ruptures. After compatibility reaction, this acrosome is going to rupture to release the lytic enzyme that is the acrosin or the zona lysin. Here you can see this is the acrosomal reaction and it is going to burst out and release the acrosin enzyme and that will digest this zona pellucida. Now next step is formation of reception cone or fertilization cone. So when the zona pellucida is digested, it reaches at the plasma membrane of this egg, and as it touches the membrane, it will forms a cone-like projection, that is the cone which is ready to receive the sperm. And because of this contact, there is one more change in the membrane that is called the depolarization of membrane. It will act as a fast block to polyspermy. Now no more sperms can enter this egg cytoplasm. So this is the first mechanism to prevent the polyspermy, that is called the fast block, because as soon as the one sperm enters, it will form due to the depolarization of membrane. Next is our activation of ovum. After sperm entry, as the sperm has already entered the secondary oocyte, because the egg is at secondary oocyte, it completes its meiosis second, and in this it will divide to form a large body that is called our ovum and small polar body that is called our second polar body. So this division is unequal because cytoplasm has to be retained, because this polar body has to be degenerate. So to retain the maximum cytoplasm, the mitosis is unequal type. So this is a large one, that is our main ovum, and this is a small body that is called our secondary polar body. So these will form, and now the meiosis or oogenesis is complete. This is a matured ovum. Next is our cortical reaction or fertilization membrane formation. So after this, what will occur? There are some granules present in this egg cytoplasm, and these are called cortical granules. Now they will release their content, and because of this, what will occur? This vitelline membrane elevates upward. It will elevate upward, and due to it, a space is formed between this ooplasm, that is the egg cytoplasm, and this vitelline membrane, and that is called our perivitelline space. And this perivitelline space, what will be present? The secondary polar body will found or present in this space, and this elevated vitelline membrane now called the fertilization envelope. What we called it? Fertilization envelope or fertilization membrane, and this also prevent polyspermy, and it is called slow block. The first is a depolarization of membrane, that is called our fast block, and second is our fertilization membrane formation due to this cortical reaction, and it is called slow block. So both prevents the polyspermy. And finally our last step, that is the fusion of egg and the sperm. And now you can see this is a male pronucleus and this is a female pronucleus, because these, after degenerating or removing their nuclear envelope, swells up and forms the female pronucleus and the male pronucleus. And now the distribution of these chromosomes will occur, and finally a single cell structure form, that is called a zygote. So this phenomena is called a syngamete. So what is the significance of this fertilization? Why it is very important? First is a very important, that is a secondary oocyte is able to complete this meiosis only after this fertilization, or you can say after the sperm entry. If this phenomenon not occur, then the oogenesis never completes. So this is important for this oogenesis completion. Second, the diploid number of chromosomes is restored in zygote.